What a lovely day. How are you over the time? It's a great time to exist. So, before we begin discussion, in this way, allow me to repeat a few ideas we have been discussing this past week of your time. Recognize that we have told you many times that practice time is over. Recognize now, we will choose to exemplify this idea to you in the manner of addressing your overall total consciousness and each and every one of your individual consciousnesses as if you are already within our idea and your idea of yourselves within the collection of consciousness we call the association. In this way, recognize now is your opportunity in this sense to begin to view yourself in that manner as already being connected to all the consciousness that you deem you're in contact with, from the viewpoint not of being less, but of being equal in this way, simply different, exploring your own avenues. Simply, however, now consider yourself through those eyes, if you wish, through the eyes of the viewpoint, the perspective of already being a part of the idea we call an association. In this way, as you, in your day-to-day experience, allow yourself this perspective, you will begin to change, transform your habits into new habits of physicality. Those new habits will reflect all the new ideas you have of yourself, and your personalities, your artificial construct personalities, will follow suit. You will then automatically find yourself choosing symbols, words, thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that will reflect the knowing conscious you that now knows itself to be a part of all consciousness within all that is, and knows itself to be all that is itself. You all follow me?
Yeah.
Therefore recognize that while we will always send you our unconditional love in the form of the communication that we share with you, and upon, in your terminology, the ending of this discussion on any particular night, we will continue to bid you a good night. But realize in this way that from this point forward, this will not be a break. The relationship will continue as it always has. Simply now, you may be consciously aware of the idea that no matter where your focus, where our focus, where any consciousness is focused, your civilization, our civilization, other levels of consciousness and other civilizations are always in a relationship. Thus, in that terminology, when we take our leave, so to speak, we use the term we, referring to both yourselves and ourselves. The phrase in this way will be that we are the sharing that continues. In this way, the viewpoint will be served that we share on many levels. It is ongoing. And there is no need in this way, if you do not choose to create it, to feel that there is any lack of your own reserve, any lack of your own conviction, any lack of your own ability, of your own self-empowerment, to continue walking that dream, breathing that dream, living that dream of knowing yourself to be continuously within the atmosphere of the idea that you are one of the consciousnesses in the association of all that is. For your allowance and your willingness and your creation of unconditional love, we will thank you. We will say, question,
or just yourself?
Yes.
That's what
Very good.
I thought.
Question.
Bashar,
Yes.
Pam wants to know where the spaceships are from that's been following her.
Following her.
Yes. There's been 2 of them.
What do they look like?
I didn't see them. I don't know.
Did she describe them to you?
It was at night, and there were lights on them. They were lit up, and there were shining lights down on the ground. And they would follow her in the car, and
Is your friend afraid?
not now.
All right. Oh, I'm going to ask first, before we illuminate in this way further, since it is a product of your own friend's attractions and creations and purposes, what does your friend feel?
This is my daughter-in-law.
What do...
She feels a closeness to them.
All right. In what way?
Oh, how would you describe it?
Does she feel she has been associated with them
Yes.
in some past life?
Yes.
Has she described the shape as either circular or is it more elongated?
Circular.
In what area of your planet does she reside?
Oklahoma.
All we can tell you at this time is that in general the connection is Pleiadian. Do you follow that terminology?
Absolutely.
There will be more unfolding. There will be more communication. Now, I want to ask, has she not had communication in her dreams?
Yes.
Does she not feel these to be real?
Yes.
Then allow her to know that she is unfolding her memory of the connection exactly as she needs to, exactly when she needs to. Understand that she is connected to a situation in which it is necessary to, in your terms, wait for many other individuals to also reach the same point of understanding, realization, before there can be, in your terms, a more blatant revelation. Now, allow me to say, this will accelerate and continue, and will, in your terms, come to some sort of focus point of understanding within the year you understand in your chronology, the 1987. She will understand at that time what the connection is, and the communication at that time will be quite blatant.
Good. Thank you.
No, thank you. Now,
More?
one more thing.
Okay.
Has she, at any time, in what she feels to be a comfortable surrounding, with an individual with whom she is comfortable, attempted the idea you call memory regression?
Yes, we're starting on that now.
All right, very good. Then you are consciously on your own timing. Very good. Thank you.
You bet.
Question.
Bashar,
Yes.
after last session, when I told you about my channeling breakthrough,
Yes.
I felt really satisfied, and I felt like the only question I had left to answer on that particular point was where my bond formed with Pleiades and the Orion energy. And that night I went home and I had a dream that was absolutely so incredible, and I'd like to share
Was what?
It wasn't incredible, it was exciting.
All right.
It
It was
was
very, very,
wonderful.
very credible.
Okay, I'll describe it.
Thank you.
My husband and I were primitive cave people. This is really, we were covered with hair and the whole thing. We were like Cro-Magnon or whatever. And we were the group
That
of
is
people.
not the terminology you call Cro-Magnon.
I'm not familiar with
All
it.
right, continue.
So he and I and a group of other people, the same development as we were,
Right.
we were running from some sort of natural disaster. And some human-like people were waving us toward an object, and we were running towards it. And it turned out to be like a shuttle, space shuttle. And they were waving us on board, and in my conscious state, through the dream, I kept saying, I know these are Pleiades people because they're supposed to be human-like. And we got on board the shuttle with a group of people, and the shuttle was bathed in this blue light. And as soon as we stepped onto the shuttle, I had this revelation in the dream about where we were going and why we were going.
And?
Well, I discovered that we were going for two reasons. They wanted us to breed with them, and also, to strengthen the human line on this planet, and also to continue a good part of our soul development there. And then at some later point, we're going to be returned to Earth.
All right. Now, allow me to say, what you have expressed is a good percentage accurate. There is to some degree I would say, symbolic interpretation based upon your own understanding of yourself at this time as you see yourself relating to those individuals. However, there is to some degree some accuracy within this idea. Understand that it was one of the forms of agreement that was created many, what you term to be, millions of your years ago, in this way. There was the opportunity for adjustment, in a sense, to be made within what you term to be the genetic structures that existed upon your planet for the purposes of the beginning of the creation of a conscious reincarnational cycle. So that, in this way, you could allow the earth to be a symbol for you of the separation you had chosen from the non-physical state to the physical, and in this way allow yourself the great creativity to perceive throughout that entire cycle of what you term to be Earth's existence, to perceive another facet, another aspect of the all that is that you are. It was one of the events, in a sense, that did occur. Was not only Pleiadian, but this for you is a primary connection, and thus your particular attachment is to that.
So I assume it means I learned a lot of my channeling and psychic abilities there.
Not exactly.
No?
Understand this about your idea you call time tracks. When you create for yourself the idea of a quote-unquote origin point outside of the Earth cycle, recognize that you are talking about a completely separate time track in such a manner that for each and every life that you physically experience on Earth, even though in a linear fashion you have past lives and a recent past life to the one you are now living directly on Earth, to each and every life that you have on Earth, the origin point life is a last life, a past life, an immediate past life to each and every life that you have on Earth. Do you follow me?
Yes. So everything before that is forgotten?
That is not the point. Understand what we are describing. Imagine two parallel lines. You have many points on one line, line A, if you wish, many points on line B. All the points on line A are linear. And you can say that they each represent a light in that time track. Similar with the line and the point on line B. However, there is a one-to-one correspondence, a line from one point on line A to a point on line B, if you will, forming more of a ladder effect, as you understand it, so that you have rungs that will, while you perceive only the point on your own line, still, each point on line B has a relationship to a point on line A. Mm-hmm. And in this way, you can understand that while in linear fashion, that is along line B, one point leads to another, and one point moves from a last point, each of those points actually can draw an association back to an immediate past point on line A. Mm-hmm. In this way, therefore, recognize that many of the agreements you have made, it is not so much in that way that that specific light was responsible for that agreement. Rather, in fact, the agreements are made, more to say, more to speak, on the rungs, the non-physical points in between, previous to life. Many different agreements for many different lives, some overall agreements that span many lives. It was a part of your initiation into that idea. But in this way, specific to the life you are now living, the agreement to do what you are doing now specifically was made previous to this physical life in your non-physical state. You follow me?
Yes, I do. Then I read, the next day I finished reading the paper on Sakra, the school in Egypt.
Yes.
Trying to fit the pieces together as to why I was named Sakra way back then. And in the paper, coincidentally, they mentioned the Kachina energy that you mentioned last week, and they said that it was the Indians, the gods that came from the stars to send them blessings. And of course that made absolute sense with me, because then I thought, of course. Then I thought, well, the Indian life that you were talking about probably was the life that I was in contact with that Kachina energy and formed from that time I spent with the Pleiades, in the Pleiades.
Very good.
Okay, so I'm not off base then.
Never.
That I know. Okay. Well, I'm still putting the pieces together.
All right. Enjoy yourself.
I still can't figure out why I was named Sakra, but I will continue.
All right. No need to tax yourself.
I'm doing that. I'm overloading my brain.
All right, take a vacation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question. All right, you. Then you.
2 days ago, as we create and count time, you shared with us a couple of symbols you suggested we might build.
Right.
Would you be willing to talk about those a little further?
All right.
Okay. You mentioned that specifically the tetrahedral arrangement could be built out of copper. You also said it could be built out of something else if the dimensions were exact. Should it be conducting?
Does not need to be. In this way, however, understand that the conductive material you call the copper in this way will have a different effect. Will have a more wide-ranging effect and more ability to allow for the frequency modulation in the field around the object to be, in your terms, accurate. You follow me?
Yes.
In this way, recognize that copper, for now, upon your planet, will be the closest representation to the material which will have, in your terms, the best effect. Particularly if the capstones are of crystal.
Of course.
Yes. Now, can be other crystals as well, but each will have a different effect. Simply to initiate what you term to be the general effect of opening the line, so to speak. You follow me? Yes. Establishing the link. Quartz will suffice.
Okay. My understanding is that this large tetrahedral is made up of 10 sub-tetrahedrals. Are they?
Or 20, depending upon the amplification.
Okay. Is each tetrahedral, sub-tetrahedral, a hollow but solid on the outside?
Hollow but enclosed, yes. With a base and a copper rod attached to the base, going up through the crystal capstone, which can be flattened a little bit on top to accept the diameter of the rod as it pokes through, a minimal amount, just enough to touch the bases on the next level of copper. You follow me?
Yes.
Now, the last tetrahedron on top will have a rod likewise, but it will pierce through the crystal capstone and rise to the height of another tetrahedron. You follow me?
Yes.
It will also be pointed on top.
Okay. Rise to the level of double the height of the entire device, or just
Nope.
just one tetrahedron?
One sub-tetrahedron, and be pointed on top.
One last question. 3 inches on a side,
Yes.
and the equal lateral triangle. Why inches, or does that matter to the dimensionality?
It does not matter so much, but understand in this way, simply that your mentality will, of convenience, be able to translate into multiples of that easily, as the multiples in any change of dimensionality or size should always be in threes.
Okay. That leads me to another question.
Yes.
There was a person on this planet, Nikola Tesla. I believe you're familiar with him.
Yes.
He was somewhat fascinated with numbers divisible by 3.
Yes.
Is there any connection?
Yes.
I have a feeling this question has been asked before.
Not in so many words.
Okay.
Not in so few words.
Could you briefly describe that connection for my sake of my curiosity?
In this way, recognize that that particular individual was, in higher consciousness, connected to 3 different civilizations or levels of consciousness density. In this way, it was natural for that individual coming into your physical time stream to bring with him the ability of recreating the vibrational patterns in such a manner that he was able to perceive any concept as a finished device in what you term to be hallucinatory form, solidly in front of him. Observe how it was running and simply copy what he saw. You follow me? Now, the specific density connections at this time will not matter, but simply recognize that the innate symbol or message of the tetrahedral structure will be this: all of his vibratory understanding, though in physical life not all of it was always conscious in the outer aware physical mind, but all of what he did was based upon what we refer to as the template of the physical universe. Understand that what you term to be the tetrahedral structure will be the minimum amount which will be self-supporting as a solid. You follow me?
Yes.
In this way, recognize that in terms of what we will call template physics, or if you wish, template metaphysics, if you have an outline of a tetrahedral structure, you will find that this will be the foundation basis that will be found to be below the idea you call, or the, I'll say, supporting mechanism for the idea you call your subatomic particle, quark. In this way, recognize that as a physicalized object, so to speak, as a physicalized perception, that which you call a quark is the foundation. However, the foundation below that will be non-physical, except that it will give birth and definition to physicality, and it is this: viewing your tetrahedron, recognize it contains all the components necessary to define each and every what you term to be absolute primary particle. It has a base with 3 sides, 3 points. You follow me? And it has an apex. You follow me?
Yes.
All right? Each of the points represents, in physical space, what you term to be the x, the y, and the z factor. The apex represents time. You follow me?
Yes.
Now, if you have, extending below, pointing downward, another tetrahedron, you will understand this will be negative time. And thus, when you come from that aspect upwards, then the three same points, x, y, z, can also be anti-x, anti-y, anti-z. Thus, you have in this one configuration of the double tetrahedron, up and down pointing, all of the factors, equationally speaking, that you need to define any idea of physicality in your universe. Running from the top time to the anti-time point, if you run a straight line through the center, from upper apex to lower apex, you will understand it will intersect the plane of the base that they share in common. And at that point, if you understand the idea, will be the 0 point, the source point, the source of creation itself, and the link to every other tetrahedron in the pattern that forms the template upon which physical reality unfolds. Recognize, therefore, that as you pull in to the center, all these ideas, they will be 0. Now, also in this tetrahedral structure, you will understand the reason for what is in your physics called the uncertainty principle. Do you follow me?
Yes.
In this way, recognize, in the way you have chosen to phrase it in your vernacular, you can either understand the position or the momentum of a particle, but not both at the same time. You follow me?
Yes.
Recognize that your tetrahedral structure gives you the answer. You have a base plane, x, y, z, and you have a time point apex on top. Now understand that because you are in the physical universe, you can only take a measurement of any one side, in a sense, or plane at a time. Thus, if you choose the plane of the base, you will have the entire x, y, z factors, the complete physical position. But the momentum, the time, will be fuzzy because it is not a part of that three-way measurement. If you choose to measure any of the upper sides, you will have the complete time factor of position in this way, but only 2 of the factors, you follow me, in the actual position. You'll have the total momentum, but only 2/3 of the position at any one measurement of any plane in the tetrahedron. This will be because you cannot, from the third dimensional point of view, take into the entire consideration the tetrahedron because it is a fourth dimensional structure. You follow me?
Yes.
This will also have to do with why the device we have described will function for the drawing of energy from its source point and the creation of this field. It will be exemplifying a resonant harmonic vibrational resonance in the actual substructure non-physical template that is the foundation of your physical universe. It is a doorway in that sense. You follow me? Will this have answered your question?
Very well. Thank you for sharing in co-creation in my experience.
We will extend the same appreciation to you. Thank you.
How would one use that device, if I may briefly?
We will get into that when you have made one.
Oh. It's a can opener. Can you say what the purpose is then?
Communication.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes, Bashar.
Yes.
Yes, I have a question about a past life that was partially revealed to me today.
All right.
I believe it's Spain, and I see a sea of soldiers with golden helmets and spears pointing upwards, and it's by the sea there are ships, and I am sending these soldiers in the ships across the sea.
Whatever for? Are you feeling guilty?
It felt noble.
All right. Perhaps at the time, yes. Does it feel noble now?
No.
All right. Now, allow me to say, this is this life. That was that life. Integrating, as you are doing now, can be done through the idea you call crying. You are centering yourself. Pulling yourself in this way, all the pieces of your personality to the center in the same manner that laughing is centering. Laughing is simply centering from a positive point of view, since in this way you are now viewing this life through a negative aspect of comparing it to your present idea of yourself. You are centering through the idea you call sadness or crying. Both are the same. Do not berate nor judge yourself, for what you have chosen to create was in perfect, harmonious agreement with your entire civilization, as each and every one of you have chosen to experience all of these ideas you call negativity and separation and judgment from the all that is that you are. You have all chosen this scenario and now are changing your idea of yourself so that these manifestations in negative terms are no longer necessary to remind yourself of what you are. Therefore, cheer up. All of those soldiers agreed to be there. Understand that while you may have been play acting, that they had to follow your orders, it was all by agreement on another level.
Can you tell me who the brown skinned people were that they were going to kill?
Moors.
Who was I? What was my name?
We are not able to get a fix. Therefore, your process is still unfolding. And in this way, we would be interfering.
What should I do?
Keep living. Life is all you need to find out everything you know in life. Everything you need to know and every purpose that you chose to live, you will encounter. There will not be any left over, nor will you fall short of time. But allow me to suggest that you relax. All right?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Question?
Bashar?
All right, starting there, go that way.
Two questions. I'm from northwest India.
All right.
And you know the geographical location
Approximately.
where the Himalayas are?
Yes.
5 years ago, I saw what you term as UFOs or...
No, what you term as. To us, they are IFO. Identified, right?
Well, I term as UFO.
Yes.
I saw them on quite a regular basis for 5 months.
It is a very active area. Understand in this way that that area is one of the chakra points of your planet, the third eye chakra. In this way, it is an energy vortex and a doorway to many other dimensionalities, through which the electromagnetic lines of the crystal of the earth project outward and inward, and in this way, simply by those craft following those magnetic lines, they find themselves emerging in that area very often.
This leads to my next question. The more I studied the phenomena, the more sightings I had.
Yes?
And I was just curious if there's a correlation between my interest and in the objects and my seeing them so frequently.
Of course. Is it not obvious?
But then it stopped.
All right. You have gone inward. And this is what you are required to do at this time. Understand, you gave yourself enough externalized attraction to allow your curiosity to then implode into itself so that you could discover all the connections that all of those sightings mean to you. And then when you re-emerge in that way, you will then be exactly at the timing necessary to find yourself once again surrounded by all of those individuals.
I'm not quite sure I understand.
That is all right. You will.
Crystals. I found 5 crystals long ago.
Yes. The number of humanity, 5.
And I have been carrying those ever since. I cannot quite fathom why I have been doing it. But
Well, what does your imagination tell you? What would you like to do with them?
I always felt that there was a purpose I was keeping them for, but I have not been able to discover that.
Perhaps that is because you have not been using them.
No, I have not used them. No.
Then use them and you will discover the purpose. Using them is the purpose. Using them in whatever way your imagination tells you to use them. Then you will discover the purpose because you will be actively pursuing your curiosity, which has gone inward, to the source, the center of yourself, where all the answers are. Play with them. Give your imagination free rein. That is what it is for. It is the tool that is uniquely tuned to the vibration that you are, and it is the link and the bridge between your dream self and your physical self, both of which are real.
I also have dreams about places I have been, and though I've never been there, and a couple of months down the road I am at that very place doing particular action which I dreamed about. And
then simply understand you are creating these clear tunnels within your own reality. Understand that your physical reality is totally a product of your creation. Then understand in this way, you are giving yourself the opportunity to clarify many of the facets on your own crystal and be able to look through them. To understand how you are connected to the idea of yourself, how you are unfolding. Understand there is no such thing as a prediction of the future. All the ideas that are in this way predictions are simply sensing that exist in the present. The energy is there in the present, right here, right now. If they do not change, they will come to pass. If they change, they will not. Understand in this way, you are simply allowing yourself to know that you are very clearly, consciously connected to all the energy, momentum, ideas, and unfoldment and purposes you have chosen to experience in this life. Hence, you are able to look through those facets, in a sense, before you get there.
I understand it a bit more clearly now.
All right.
I've always felt that I am creating my own situations.
You are.
Though I feel it's on a subconscious level.
Does not have to be.
That's what I'm trying to get control of.
You are in no need of trying. You are in no need of assuming you are not already in control exactly as you are creating it. Recognize this. As long as you are physical, you will to some degree, at least right now in this life, on this planet, in this civilization, continue to unfold for the most part in ways that will seem automatic without necessarily needing to be consciously, analytically aware of exactly all the specifics it took to get you there. This is the idea that you are acting out. Many of you are acting out. You do not have to know all the specifics in order to get there. And really, trying to know all the specifics will slow you down. Simply keep living. You will know what you need to know when you need to know it. You are going at exactly the rate you have chosen to go, because it is congruent with the perfect timing of everyone else in your civilization and the agreement you have made with them.
May I ask you a question about past life?
All right.
Is it possible for you to tell me who I was?
It will depend on many things. Allow me to say there is a 70% chance we will say no. Simply because, in this way, once again, you are creating your past and your future from your present. And there is no need in this way to assume that you have to lock onto the idea or labelings of the past in order to understand what you need to understand in the present.
Well, the reason why I asked you was that I have a feeling that what I did in the past life has a direct bearing on...
As we just said. In some senses it does. But recognize that as you unfold your awareness of that incident, it is an opportunity for you to recognize how it is not something that controls you, but something you are choosing to control you in the present. You follow me? The past is created from the present. The past can have no hold over the present until you judge that it does. But in judging that it does, it is a present judgment. What is the life?
That's the thing I'm not able to pinpoint. That's why I asked.
What do you feel is the nature of the incident? Something reprehensible?
No.
All right. Something wonderful? Something blasé? Something of no great consequence?
Well, put it this way. Halfway between blasé and wonderful. How about that?
Halfway between blasé and wonderful? All right. Now, in this way, how do you feel that this incident has direct bearing on your life now?
Well, this goes back to what you said. I feel that it has control over my actions right now, but...
Not control. It does have a relationship, not control.
That's why I'm interested in knowing what it was.
All right, but again, understand you are making the assumption that you have to know the cause before you can experience an effect, which you do not.
To help me understand.
All right. In this way, we are assisting you to know that the cause and the effect are the same event. One and the same.
Right.
Therefore, understand simply, in this way, that you are creating right now any relationship that you feel bears upon this life from another life.
Okay.
Whether it is positive or negative. Now, allow me to suggest that in our perception, we can be of greatest assistance to you by simply telling you, keep living the life you are in, not the life you were in. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Yes, Bashar, how are you tonight?
Perfect. How are you?
I'm just joyous, thank you.
All right. Same thing.
First, before I ask a couple questions, I'd like to just express how wonderful it is to be alive now.
Oh, very good.
And that truly, before I used to look at things with such apprehension and fear, not that I won't do that again, maybe I won't.
Beg your pardon?
Maybe I won't do it again. But I'm so aware, like when we talked Monday about the levels of consciousness not ending.
May I interrupt you for one moment?
Certainly, Bashar.
Thank you. Simply, again, as an assistance from our point of view, the statements that you just made, in our perception, came from two different people.
Right, they did. Thank you.
Now, which one are you right now?
I feel joyous and wonderful.
Thank you.
There's no separation.
Thank you.
And it's been such a... I had this experience before we talked on Monday, which is I became aware. I was driving on the road and caught in my microcosm and just realized that, like, this project I've been wanting to work with, I thought, oh, well, it's over in London shooting right now. Great. And then I thought about the Pleiades. I thought, wow. And then I thought about Mukta, and then I thought about the sun, and I just realized we are all happening at the same time.
Very good.
And it's so exciting. And the transformation that we're undergoing, before I viewed it, the other person had viewed it from such a trepidation, and it's like such a welcome. It's such a welcome. I mean, plagues, whatever it is, bring it on because it's time.
Plagues?
You know, they're going to happen before everybody's going, oh my God, the plagues and the war and whatever, the transformation is great. It's happening.
Now,
it's exciting.
What do you perceive the transformation will be? Do you perceive it will be plagues?
I don't think it's in the future anymore. I think it's here now.
All right, in a sense, yes.
And for me, I think that...
Is it in your reality?
The plague? No. Except for that it'll happen to other people.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody's been telling me that. Maybe not.
Everybody.
Not everybody.
Who is anybody else?
Nobody else is anybody. We're all the same.
Thank you.
And we are it.
Thank you.
So there are no plagues.
Thank you. Then perhaps in the overall reality, they will disappear.
There are no wars. Great. Everything's great.
Now, understand, you can know that you still do have disease, yes. Do have wars, yes. But in this way, you recognize the purposes they are serving. Not that you say, bring on more war.
No, I didn't mean that. I just mean
All
it's exciting.
Yes,
Because
very
it's
good.
cleansing. It's
Very good.
transforming.
Very good.
It is truly change.
Very good.
And it's exciting. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
Now I have a couple questions.
All right.
Um,
Now we will hear from the other person.
I tried asking questions from the other person. The joy
All right.
is me.
We will give you a break. This is a third person.
Well, I could talk to you about things, but everybody wants to ask questions, so I'll ask the questions, okay? Last night, I had a dream about my father. The problem, why can't we communicate about this? And I got extremely angry and said, don't you get it yet that this is the life that we're supposed to talk together about these issues? And we're supposed to share what we know with each other because this is when we need to bring it together.
Oh, very good.
Okay.
And have you?
No, not when my dad didn't. I was like blaming him in the dream. And the next sequence of the dream, I was at the gynecologist's office, and the doctor and the nurse were sitting there, and they're going, well, we're going to have to cut it out. And no, and they said, it won't take but 20 minutes. If you can wait and be still, it will happen. Well, I just want to know what they were going to cut out, what the symbol was that I was conjuring up in my mind that had to be cut out.
It is called in your society cesarean birth.
Birth of...
A new idea of yourself.
Oh, hold on a second. And about my dad then, I couldn't believe the emotions. I hadn't felt such anger in so long. Maybe it doesn't
Anger
communicate.
is your natural energy vibration that aligns you with the idea that you know yourself to be. Thus you are telling yourself, this is what I am.
So it really wasn't my dad, it was another aspect of me.
Yes.
Great. I have another question.
All right.
I talked to you before about that 2 weeks ago when I woke up like petrified of this high frequency. I had the same frequency occur last Saturday night. I woke up again, I recognized it, I thought, look, there it is again. And I was sleeping with someone and...
Sneaky old frequency.
I know, well, I was sleeping with someone. They were sound asleep snoring. And I said, in my mind, I said,
Perhaps that was the frequency.
I don't really know it wasn't. I
All
said,
right.
did you hear that? In my mind, I said that. And the person in their sleep went, mm-hmm. And they don't remember it at all. But I was just wondering, we talked about that frequency. What is that frequency? Is it just me coming back into my body?
In a sense, it is the frequency of connection of yourself to the all that is that you are. It is the recognition of what you term to be, the background vibration of creation. And many times you translate it as a frequency difference, as a differential between the frequency you think yourself to be and the one you become in the transformation. Understand in this way that what you always experience is not, per se, the frequency that you, quote-unquote, are, or the frequency that you, quote-unquote, become, but always the relationship difference between the two frequencies.
Mm-hmm. So I feel, obviously, because that frequency reflected back to me, I still see myself as separate from that frequency, and I just need to embrace that and be it.
But, all right,
I am it.
but understand that you are also still choosing to be physical. No need to judge that you will break it completely.
True. And then another quick one. I don't know if you'll answer this or not. If you will, fine. If not, that's fine. It will be answered later. I was at with Jan and the other night, and on this crystal bed, and I got an image. It was like a space war. Is the only idea I can think of, and I was screaming, "Anima!" And I got the idea that it was don't
Stop.
leave me. Okay.
Understand in this way, or allow me to ask you a question. Did you perceive in any way, shape, or form any shifting of your energy into the blue frequency during that experience?
I perceived a total shift in my being. I don't know if it was
All right.
frequency.
Understand again, you were, and that device has the capability of pulling out those memories. But they were, to some degree, altered a little bit by your understanding of yourself in this life, but they were integrating memories. Understand again the connections in the league.
Okay. So that Anima that I've been saying, I've never met Anima. I just heard that Anima is someone from your planet.
It was, in a sense, a vibration that you recognized in your time of stress as being something that would represent a future vibration, a total future idea at that time.
I can't say my mind can grasp that quite yet, but
All right.
listen to the text.
Understand it this way by analogy, if you wish. Imagine that you are in a situation, as you say, of great negative stress. You believe with all your being that you are about to die physically. You reach beyond yourself and for one fleeting moment in physicality grasp the entire concept of where you will go next and why as it relates to where you are now. In this way, you simply pulled out a facet of the vibration that represents the entire idea that many of those individuals of that time are now upon your planet doing now.
Right.
It was a leap across from one time track to another.
So that was the war.
In a sense. Understand again the concept that you have been referring to in those systems as war. In many cases, to some degree, is as you know it, but many times on certain levels, not anything like you have conceived.
Right.
Not in the manner in which you recognize the idea you call war.
It's an energy
Yes.
exchange. And then this question, is moved to my past self or a future self?
No comment.
Thank you. I need to keep making comment on that.
Thank you for knowing. Next.
Yes, Bashar.
Yes.
I was reading Seth for a few minutes today, and I'd always pictured the all that is as totally, completely complete.
Oh,
and,
thank you.
And I don't know whether I misread it or what, but from what I understood, what he was saying is that the all that is continually advancing.
Yes.
Becoming more and more.
All right, now understand that you are attempting from a three-dimensional point of view to grasp something of another dimensionality. It will not translate very readily into your terminology. Simply allow yourself to know that whenever you come across what seems to be a dichotomy or a paradox, you are simply entering the realm of your higher consciousness, where those two ideas, seemingly mutually exclusive, do coexist. Creation can be completely complete and completely new at the same time. Always creating, already created. All of these concepts will be, to a degree, more clearly expressed in non-physicality, though you can innately allow yourself to know you understand them in physicality without needing to find terminology to define it.
So, in one way it was real to me, and another way it wasn't. So that's what you're saying then. That in part of me I could almost see what it was saying.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Question?
Bashar,
Yes.
first of all, I'd like to acknowledge it's my first time here in the day. It's very nice. Thank you.
We are enjoying you as well.
I have two questions. One is, there's a fascination to physically see a UFO. And my husband's here, and occasionally I feel like I constantly want to run out in the desert or whatever.
Yes.
Is that experience something that one should meditate and let it happen, or?
There are no shoulds.
Well,
follow your instincts.
Oh my God, did I call you reminded me?
All right. Now, allow me to say that your meditation can allow you to come to the realization of why you wish to make the connection. Understand that all agreements that you have made will be lived out. Therefore, you can relax a little bit. Now, understand that your excitement is a knowing recognition of certain ideas and connections and agreements you have made. You are, in this way, being true consciously to yourself. Now, allow me to suggest that if you feel this feeling every night of your time, recognize that you can, I'll say, mirror the idea to some extent. If you simply allow yourself to act upon the energy, it will be all right to run only as far as your backyard.
Thank you. Could you help me and describe some significance with the third planet of the Seven Sisters?
Pleiades.
The third?
Do you mean Eros?
I don't know the name. I just have a feeling for the third planet next reference.
Then for now, in your terminology, Era, it will be. E-R-R-A. It is the symbolic representation, the representational planet that is extending the connection to Earth from the Pleiades, as you understand the connection that is being made at this time. Therefore, understand that for the most part, all connections of all individuals upon your planet that relate to Pleiades will stem from that source. What is your definition of the idea you call sisterhood?
It relates to the relationship of feminine energy and Mother Earth and bringing balance on the planet.
All right. Where within the idea of the expression do you find that you can balance male and female energy within yourself?
Within the body.
And?
I don't understand.
And within the knowing self.
Oh.
Will you describe for me some of what you may have considered to be the experiences that stand out the most in what you term to be your adolescence with regard to psychic manifestations?
A vision that here on earth was like a play, and that we were being observed, and that we had to go through a lot of drama and pathos, and that one day we would return home.
All right, now understand the idea of home is an analogy. You are home anywhere in the universe. All right? We understand your idea of origin point, and in this way recognize that each and every life, or a cluster of lives, can create an entirely new origin point. What you are relating to as your origin point in this life will have to do with the purposes you are serving during the transformation of this planet, and so it will feel like home, yes. Understand in this way the idea you call, in your terms, the month March. Explore your connections from 15th to 17th of that month. And in this way, understand that for those 3 days, there can be for you allowing yourself to be very open and following your life as you have lived it, as you have created it. Again, very blatant, can be still in dream state, but very blatant communication. Did you understand in this way that when we described the suggestion for you of going out into your backyard, that for you, that action can be the same as going out to your desert? You will be channeling the energy towards that reality. You will still be making the connection. You follow me? Do you like sapphire?
The gem?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Star sapphire?
Yes.
It can be, for you, a vibrational tool. Can you find within one of these gems what you term to be a 5-pointed star?
Yes.
Now, if you cannot in your vernacular find that when you attract yourself to such a crystal, do not fret if it cannot become your own. It will not necessarily be necessary. Simply attract yourself, attract it to you, and act accordingly to the vibration that you share in communication with that crystal and the communication that can come through the crystal. As you reflect to yourself a certain portion of your mentality, that will open a gate to the sisterhood.
Bashar, is that a secret from our quartz system?
It is not quartz. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar, as the first time I've been here, permit me to ask, who are you?
In this way, there are many ways to define and describe this idea. One, you may recognize that I am, in your terms, the physical channel future self. At the same time, I am my own being in this way, of a civilization. In our language you call epithony. In your translation, living life. We are, in your terms, on one level, physicalized, like yourselves to some degree, beings of our own planet. And we are part and parcel of an energy consciousness triad formed of your civilization, our civilization, and the civilization you call Sirius, or Sistine. In this way, recognize that we are 3 portions of a larger consciousness. Though each of our civilizations is distinct, and all the individuals contained therein. Now, we are being allowed by all of you at this time to reflect to you many of the ideas you are now beginning to explore upon your planet, so that you can become equal to many ideas, and in this way we can share our reality with yours, your reality with ours. It is your choice. It is up to you. We are here by your allowance to assist, to serve, to share. Will this have answered your question? Do you have something more specific?
When you answer a question, you often say we.
Yes.
What is that?
In this way, understand that for our civilization, I am one of the representatives. And in this way, many times, it will be an opportunity for you to recognize the idea of the blending of consciousness that still will allow an individual to exist. As one consciousness, your planet becoming one consciousness does not eradicate individual personality, but strengthens it. Therefore, many times, I will say I. Many times, I will say we, where it is applicable to the type of energy we are communicating to you on other levels of your consciousness other than what you term to be your outer aware physical consciousness. And many times, when I say we, I am also including your civilization. As we said, tonight of your time in this way, we, my civilization, will now refer in this way that you are already a part of the association of consciousness that we recognize to exist. Will this have answered your question?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Do you wish at this time to take your break?
Yes.
You may take short break. Right on an hourly day. Question.
Yes, Bashar?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about... Go for it, huh? Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the quartz density?
Physical or non-physical?
I don't know. I really don't know much about it. I know that we're propelling ourselves into that.
All right. Understand it this way. Fourth density will be the last density in your terms in which you can be both physical and non-physical. From that point onward, it is not physicality as you understand it. In this way, simply recognize that fourth density physical will be more a compilation of the idea you call effects in your life, perceptions, perspectives, ideas. You will consciously be able to experience the ecstatic explosion of coincidence. Everyone will be being of service exactly when and where they need to be for everyone else. In this way, recognize that your economic structure, your social structure, political structure in this way, religious structure in this way, will all transform into something unlike what you have at present. This, in this way, do not judge. That will also be gone. Recognize in this way that you will be able to perceive yourself as the connection to every other idea, as the relationship to every idea that you think you have, that you experience in your life in this way. You will recognize that you are ideas. You will perceive yourself in this way to feel more accelerated, feel lighter. This will be a direct, paradoxical result of the idea of having more density in this way, more of yourself present, more of your energy, so your acceleration will be increased in this way. You may perceive yourself and your physical form as time progresses within the fourth density in this way to be a little bit brighter, light body. You will find you may be able in this way to perceive the idea you call auric fields, energy fields, directly, sensing them. In this way, you will also allow your own life to become completely transparent and clairvoyant to yourself. You will understand all the connections of the symbols you create in your physical life for yourself. You will recognize the place and purpose that they serve immediately as they are created, and you will allow them to transform instantaneously, therefore, into other action. You will allow yourselves the opportunity to recognize your connection to the earth crystal as such. You will be able to create and recreate all the ideas of the utilization of energy of the fields around and in and about your earth for such ideas as what you term space travel. Recognize now in this way that what you call your space travel to us in our perception, you are simply sliding around on the surface of space. You're not traveling through it. In this way, you will allow yourself to break through the dimensionality of yourself and recognize that space travel is travel through the self, both in time and space. You will recognize your own extensions of consciousness within the idea of animal consciousness as they act as guides for you in this way, reflections to yourself. You will open up communication with them in this way and consciously recognize that you are only one of two, what you call sentient species, reincarnational species upon your planet, the other being you call cetacean, whale and dolphin. In this way you will have the existence upon your planet of the idea of land form, creature, ocean form, creature, which will be reflections of the overall spirit consciousness that you both share. In this way, understand, this will, for the most part, take place within what you term to be the first 300 of the years in this way of your 1,000-year cycle of integration into fourth density. Many other ideas also. And in this way, you will be in communication with other civilizations. You will know yourself to be an active part of the idea we call the association in this way. And 300 years hence in this way, you will also in this way be acting in much the same manner as we are acting with you right now with other civilizations.
Is the integration into the fourth density a gradual one?
To some degree, yes.
I feel for me, there's like a pulsation.
Yes.
Sometimes I grasp it.
Yes.
I'm in and out, in and out.
Understand that you are already in the transformation. In this way, I'll say the nucleus of the shift will be occurring over the period of time you call your next 30 years. From that point forward, you will find there will be more awareness of simply being at the beginning point of the 1,000-year cycle, and then it will simply be a matter of progressing through the ideas of yourself. More and more within integration, more and more expansion into yourself, and therefore more and more expansion of your awareness of all that is that you have to explore.
Oh, boy.
Now, allow me to say that the greatest degree of probability at this time is also during that cycle. You will discover that the idea of the intensity energy fields in this way that have created the idea you call Earth, and all the experiences that you have chosen to experience in this locale, this nexus point, will allow you to come to terms with the idea that this symbol is no longer needed for the most part, and in this way, more and more of you will be removing yourselves from the physical reincarnational cycle of this particular area in time and space. Therefore, in approximately at this time, as we see your energy, in approximately 2,000 to 3,000 of your years, you will find there will be almost no physical beings upon your planet at all. You will have removed yourselves from the physical reincarnational cycle almost totally.
But isn't it true that sometimes past life happened in the future? Couldn't we have already left already?
Then it is not in your own terminology of past life. It is a future life. You follow me?
No, because I read this book, Oversoul 7, and it gave me the idea that you can have a past life. When I say past life, I mean one that you've already experienced in the future.
You experience all your lives right now. Remove the idea of space-time. Everything is simultaneous. Yes, you are experiencing all your future lives right now. Understand in this way If you have lives, and many of you do, most of you do, on other time tracks, what is, in your terms, future, to you, may have already been experienced, and thus is also a past life.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
Bashar.
Yes!
Hi. I understand from some of the folks here that you're in your IFO in our ozone right now, or have been recently.
All right, allow me to say, we are approximately 150,000 of your miles distant, well beyond your ozone layer.
Now? Have you been closer just recently?
Yes, in my own ship.
Have you thought about coming over toward Oklahoma and say howdy to us?
I'll think about it.
You have a lot of friends there, you know.
Understand that we perceive the entirety of your civilization to be our friends.
Okay.
Recognize that we follow the patterns of timing as they unfold for the purposes we have chosen to serve. At this time, my personal craft has not been over that area. Although some craft from my civilization have been.
Would you mind coming over and seeing it?
At this time, understand again, it is not the timing for physical contact.
Okay.
It will be within the potential of what you call one of your decades from now. Understand that before your decade is out, between what you call 1987, 1994, in that time frame, your civilization will be well aware that you have been in contact with other civilizations for quite some time, and what you call your governments will finally reveal this to you.
No,
Do not be sorry.
Bite my tongue.
Thank you, for you are all that is.
What's your...
One moment.
Okay.
Since we also perceive in the memory systems of the physical channel your other question, we will answer it for you. 1, we do not drink coffee.
Oh.
2, I myself am projecting from a cubicle on our mother craft, and in this way, I remain within that cubicle during what you perceive to be your break. In this sense, no time passes for me as I go completely within the center of myself for what you would perceive to be a split instant, and when re-emerging, it is time to start. Thus, I do not experience a time lag in the form of a break. In one particular area of our mother craft, there is in your terms, a board or a panel, translucent in nature, in which exists the idea somewhat similar to what you would think of as lights, but not exactly. When any one of us is in a state of being completely enfolded inward during that time, it lights up. In this way, recognizing to those in that room that there is this transition taking place, so there can be a recording of the timing in that way. As there is a recording, in a sense, of the entirety of our exchange kept, and of every exchange kept in those systems and memory banks in the computers aboard our craft.
For what purpose?
Knowing.
So maybe for the other channels entities who are learning to channel, they can listen.
Very good.
Become familiar with our
Yes.
civilization.
Now, understand in this way, you do not have to listen in. They are simply placed in this way in one of the cubicles, and it is in this sense impregnated directly into their mentality.
Oh, like they absorb it.
Yes.
Oh.
What is the medium of recording?
It is in your terminology a series of layered pulsed energy patterns. Life itself. In your terms, trapped in a matrix of metallic crystalline fields, and in this way forms within the center of itself, by its interplay, interaction, all duplicates all of the functions that are contained in the organ you call the physical brain. It is all light. Interacting, intermeshing, interweaving in particular patterns of vibration. You may consider it to be, in a sense, a standing wave phenomena. A similar analogy would be, as you have described upon your planet, taking a metal disc, striking it or vibrating it, and watching grains upon the surface form standing waves. You may consider the interior of our computer recording system a holographic three-dimensional version of this idea, except it is all done within light energy. You follow me?
Yes. Is the material transparent or translucent if you were to view it physically?
It is translucent.
Uh-huh.
It is transparent near the surface, so that certain effects can be observed, as we have said, in certain recordings or indications of activities taking place. Into the core, it is, in your terms, completely opaque.
Mm-hmm. How is then the memory played back?
By identification of an individual's consciousness directly with that energy field.
Sort of like telepathy or something?
That will be close.
Okay.
It is more an identification.
Okay.
It is more synchronizing your vibration with the vibration of the computer's field.
And then the experience just occurs.
Yes.
For the individual.
It unfolds again, as we have said, to some degree, in what you would term to be a hallucinatory manner. Mm-hmm. You simply become the idea and then step out of the field.
I see. Is there a limit to the capacity of the memory device?
Memory? Specifically memory?
No, they're just capacity to the recording.
Yes, there is a limitation to some degree. The one upon the mothership in which I now reside will, in your terminology, as best as we can translate, be able to retain the combined knowledge, cross-referencing, in a sense, of approximately the average populations of 3 planets.
For what period of time?
Until we choose to change it.
Is there some input system that puts the energy?
It is again mental. Understand in this way that each and every one of you is a recording crystal. And all your experiences in this way can be duplicated into the matrix within the center of the computer. Thus, it contains its own holographic representation of the entirety of any being that is fed into it, in a sense. Mm-hmm. You follow me?
Yes, I'm wondering if there's some device which creates the standing light waves.
It is, in a way, again, as we have said, the creation of a shell of this translucent metallic crystalline substance, and light itself is also the activator. What you call starlight is the activator.
Okay. So the starlight would be the energy which is formed or utilized and put into the patterns that constitute the recording. Is that correct?
To some degree, though, it is enhanced or momentumly increased by a device we call a flash matrix. So it can achieve the levels of vibrational resonance necessary for the retention of all the patterns.
Okay.
It is a highly accelerated rate of existence. In a sense, it is not unlike the density of what you term to be a black hole, though without the gravitational effects.
Mm-hmm. What is the physical size of this device in our terms?
Approximately, collectively, it is not in one location. Collectively, approximately, they will vary between 297 to 390. The term closest is centimeter.
Okay. That's a linear dimension. I assume this to be a three-dimensional object, so that would be...
You may consider it to be cubic.
Okay. Thank you. Bashar?
One moment. There is an error factor in the translation. Understand in this way, since the physical channel is not, are you capable of translating that into your term you call inches?
Yes.
Now,
Are you asking me to do it now?
yes,
Approximately 300 to 390 cubic centimeters is the figure you gave me,
yes,
correct? I'd have to think about that for a while to do it.
an approximation will do.
10 centimeters to an inch.
25 centimeters from the cubic
We're
yard.
talking about cubic here.
Cubic yard.
I love it.
It would be about 20 cubic
But
inches.
it's a cube of
20 cubic inches.
All right, that is the error. Allow it in this way to be 10 times the size.
Okay. So we're probably talking about... All right. 200 cubic inches, what you're saying.
More approximately.
Okay.
Our mathematical scale is not as yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar,
Yes.
is it possible for any of us to link consciously with you or the other beings on board your ship?
In some states, to some degree, yes. More appropriately, right now, as you are experiencing this discussion, we are linked consciously to some degree. Also in dream state, as it will be in your terms easier for you. A direct link in the manner, to some degree, that we experience upon our own planet at this time, would result in uncomfortableness for you.
What about a trance channel like the one that Darrell is experiencing right now, and we are experiencing through him?
If you have made such an agreement with an individual, you will arrive at the point where you will begin to do such.
One more question about something you said earlier. You said in 2,000 to 3,000 years there will be essentially no physical beings left on this planet. Are you saying that, well, in the post-density it's possible to be physical and also to be...
What you term to be physical death projects you at first into non-physical fourth density.
Right.
Now, in this way, recognize that we are also saying that within the time period you call 3,000 of your years, it will be long enough for you to not need to be third density physical at all anymore. Therefore, there will be fewer of what you term to be physical humanity upon your planet. It might be able to be used by others.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then you.
When we talked a minute ago about my dream, and you said they were talking about cesarean. I mean, in my dream we were cesarean. The doctor and the nurse, were they representations of me? Just trying to pull my own self out of myself?
Yes.
Okay. And it's Bill here, my friend Bill. My friend Bill. I really perceived that we were in in Atlantis together.
You really perceive that?
I really-
What does Bill think?
He doesn't think about these things too much.
Then perhaps at this time, we should not talk about them too much. It is up to you.
No, I like it.
Why don't we ask Bill?
Oh, why don't we? I was going to ask you, but we can ask Bill.
What do you think?
I did some reading on Atlantis. I'm not sure whether I find it something that I can handle.
Handle? All right.
Okay.
How did you feel about it when you read it?
Well, it's an exciting and intriguing idea.
All right.
The fact that mankind, though, recycles himself bothers me a little bit. How we can attain...
Recycle? All right.
Recycle our standard of living, recycle our civilization.
Are you speaking of the idea of reincarnation?
No, I'm speaking of the level at which mankind reached, if indeed Atlantis did occur.
All right.
Where the Valix was the method of transportation.
All right. Understand in this way.
Where buildings were created of aluminum.
25,000 of your years ago was, in your historical time frame, the general idea of creating separation of the self and destruction. And in this way, yes, you have, quote-unquote, recycled yourselves through this entire cycle of 25,000 years to this point, so that you can now complete the cycle. Recognize that that which you call your country, United States of America, is an exact historic parallel of Atlantis. You're now giving yourselves the same opportunity you created then you chose to destruct. Now we perceive you are choosing to integrate, so that you can complete the cycle of all the separation, negativity that you chose to manifest, and get on with integration and positive manifestation upon your planet. You are all playing it out again. This time you are choosing, as you say, the other side of the coin. Has all been very creative, has all been your choice, has all been for your own purposes of understanding yourselves and your own awareness of your own growth. Now you're at this point. In some senses, again, but always anew. Do not let recycling bother you. Cycling is the nature of the physical universe in many different ways. Understand there have been many, many, many cycles within your own understanding of your own civilization, and there have been many civilizations upon your planet, far beyond that which you consider to be your historical time. Now, does this in some way assist with the idea of recycling? Or do you have further questions, or statement, or sharing?
Yes, I have a few statements.
All right.
One concerns our basic laws of physics.
All right.
We are in a framework of technical knowledge which is defined continually by what I'm hearing tonight.
Which is what?
Defined.
Oh, no.
We refute the laws of physics that we now understand.
Oh, no.
Don't encompass.
Oh, yes.
Or won't allow us to think beyond certain areas.
Understand that.
And these boundaries are going to have to come down.
All right, yes. But understand again, they are only boundaries. It is not defying the laws of physics. It is simply discussing ideas that will, yes, push the boundaries a little farther out. Much of what we have in this way, just not a bad word, it describes exactly the perspective you had of yourself in describing it. In this way, simply recognize that much of what we have discussed, you're what you call physicists, some of them, not a lot of them at this time, but some of them are beginning to be aware of it. Understand that your civilization is not that much different from our own. In a sense, though, we have expressed to you the terminology that we are, quote-unquote, 300 of your years in advance, so to speak. Advancement is only a matter of perspective, not advantage. Recognize there are many of the things that occur upon our civilization that you also could allow to occur upon your planet once you simply allow yourselves to integrate within yourselves rather than separate. This is what your physics, that particular branch you call quantum, that is beginning to allow you to realize that all is one and connected. And now with great excitement, many of your physicists are now beginning to realize how you are responsible for the creation of your reality. Much of what we have discussed tonight is not really so unusual in the ears of some of your physicists. You are not as far away from the idea as you think. It is only a matter of a little bit application in certain directions. How does that feel?
It feels good.
All right. Anything else? Or do you wish to allow Carol to take back the ball?
No, I would like to ask a question.
Oh, right.
Okay, we are indeed at a crossroads.
Oh, yes.
And let's say that we make the right choice.
You will make a valid choice. Let us say we perceive that you make a positive choice, yes.
Okay, we're faced with some big problems. One of them would be pollution of our planet.
Problems. Yes.
Okay, in the pollution sense.
Yes.
It would seem to me that what we really need to do is to combine some form of energy
Yes.
to overcome the continued pollution problem that we're now spreading around our planet, mainly in the oceans and the atmosphere.
All right, thank you. Now, allow me to point out that there have been several, in your terms, attempts at doing this. One of which was very prominent in the creations of the individual we have discussed, Nikola Tesla. The majority of these attempts have all been suppressed. The ability, the technology, and the energy already exists on your planet. It has been suppressed several times by those to which you have given over your power to, what you call your governments, and many of what you term to be on your planet your corporations, which amounts to the same thing. When you integrate, take back your fear, allow yourselves to know that you are your governments, you will be able to share all of these ideas freely, without judgment, without suspicion, without the fear that someone is going to lose so someone else can win, and simply get on with the idea of creation itself. And you will be able to unlock all those ideas that have been locked away. Now, understand that one of the primary foundations of energy that was understood by the individual Tesla is that your earth crystal vibrates at 7½ cycles per second. He thus conceived of an amplification device that would allow the entire earth to act as a source of its own amplified resonance. And thus, what you term to be energy would be accessible freely to anyone, anywhere upon the planet, simply by inserting a conductor into the surface of the earth. Now just imagine how your energy companies felt about that. They said, no thank you. All of that information was suppressed. And to some extent it was even sabotaged in your terminology. All of this still exists. The more you relax into yourself, the more you blend your society together. By allowing yourself to know there is no need to fight against these things, but to simply allow them into your being and allow yourself to recognize that you are your government, you will be able, once again, to bring these ideas forth and in very rapid succession, completely reshape the surface of your planet. It is up to you. How are you doing, Carol?
I'm doing. I'm so
I have one more question.
All right.
Would you comment on the productivity of exploring and continue exploring our working with fusion, a clean fusion reaction. I've been under the impression that somewhere around the first decade in the next century that a controlled fusion reaction will be possible.
It will, yes. It will be possible quite soon. However, allow me to suggest that our perception of your mass consciousness at this time will find it to be very, very bothersome and very time-consuming and very expensive way to go about it. Recognize again that when some of these other systems are allowed to integrate into your mainstream of technological application, you will find there can be many other alternative methods for creating the ideas of fusion that will be very simple. And there are a few that in your terminology would be called cold fusion. You do not need such great heat. You have only to allow yourself to merge or identify the crystalline substances of one material with those of another, in order in this way to fuse them and allow them to radiate energy for a very, very long period of time.
Which materials?
You have not created them yet.
Go, Ken.
You will find, however, that to some degree there is a similarity at this time in some of the materials you call carbon, chromium, magnesium. In a crystalline lattice work, the blending of these three ideas will result in some of this capability, but at this point it will be in your terms crude. But that is an area in which to explore the idea of cold fusion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else to add, Carol?
Well, I just want to know, can you tell me if he was my brother in Atlantis or what our connection was?
Could have been. However, understand first of all of you have had many lives in Atlantis. There's not just one life in Atlantis.
I know that.
All right. However, the one in which you are interested, allow me to say, we can tell you briefly. He was a he, and you were a she, and he was your teacher.
Oh, really? Is that why I feel such joy at him being here tonight and
You
giving me
enjoyed
information?
learning, yes.
I'm so happy that he's here.
I'm happy to be here.
Perhaps because now you feel you are in the same position.
I don't know. I just feel I feel great. I don't even care why.
Could you ever wish for a more promising student?
No, I was just wondering because when I first met him, I'd gone to see Vanda, and we had this like important meeting to meet, and it's like we ended up talking the whole time.
All right.
I was just excited.
Thank you. Your natural parent in that time frame died. He was your teacher and your foster father.
Oh.
You were an apprentice, so to speak, an apprentice.
And what did I learn?
We will save that for another time.
Oh, no.
Question. All right.
Well, I just want to kind of share some scenarios that have been going on for a while, and especially tonight.
All right. You may share them willingly, boldly, freely.
Okay.
No need to be kind of sharing.
Okay. So, one of the images that's been coming up for me a lot has been like this idea of this space with a small spacecraft in it, and I'm not really sure if there's. It seems like there's a person there, but it almost seems more like an empty type of suit. It's a real small spacecraft, and I look at it, and it's really stationary, and it's just like almost a picture. And then if I stay with the picture and the feelings long enough, I kind of okay, forget the kind of.
All right, already forgotten.
All right, I go into this this other feeling of like prehistoric age. I start looking at. It's almost as if I'm a dinosaur or something. I start seeing.
You are not a dinosaur, but go on.
Okay, well, what I'm seeing is I almost feel like I'm seeing through the eyes, or I'm looking right at a dinosaur, and I feel like I'm right in some kind of outside space. And if I stay with that feeling, I get into this dream I had when I was a little kid about the dream I had was I killed my brother. I threw him overboard a ship, and I felt terrible about it. He died.
Allow me to suggest he also felt terrible about it.
So it's just kind of interesting, those three things kind of, and I just keep looking at it. It keeps coming together for me.
How does it come together?
Just like I said, like one thing falls
All right.
the other.
But understand, you have described separate incidents, separate projections. How do they come together? What is at the center?
I am.
All right. But the idea.
I guess it's like an exploring or...
Oh, very good. Very good. In this way, recognize that each and every one of those activities and incidents reflect that you are an explorer and have been in many lives. You are also in this one. As an Earth server, you are going to be exploring aspects of your emotionality that will allow you to be of service. You follow me?
Uh-huh.
You have been an explorer in many lives. Now, allow me to tell you one thing. The incidents or perceptions that you call dinosaur were made from two perspectives. One, you did in that personage come to this planet at the time which those creatures existed. The second, some of those creatures existed farther into historical periods than you think, and one of your lives was connected with that as well.
Okay.
Understand that you have had and have now, but through an emotional aperture, an opportunity to recognize that the majority of your exploration has been through not so much the idea of space, but time warps. For time has a much stronger emotionality to you than space does. And hence, your emotionality in this life connected to the idea of spontaneous timing in your dance. As you allow yourself to spin through yourself, you are becoming the exemplification and collection of all of those time doorways and bringing yourself to one focal point, to serve as the explorer that you have been. And to, in this way, allow yourself now to draw out emotional maps that others can admire for their simplicity and their beauty of construct. It is your gift as Earth Server to draw these emotional maps. Allow yourself to give freely of this gift. Love yourself unconditionally. And recognize that All that is loves you unconditionally in all that you have done, all that you are doing, and all you will participate in. Dance that idea. Thank you.
Bashar?
All right.
The materials of Tesla that describe the tapping of energy from the Earth itself, are these available still on Earth? Can they be...
There is literature you can discover, yes.
In other words, the literature itself has not been suppressed or...
Not recently. There has been some, in your terms, recent compilations of that literature. It does not contain the fullness of the equations, but perhaps for you enough to begin with.
Okay. Would I be able to find it at a local library, or would there be some other place I'd have to go to get it?
Perhaps.
I can tell you where you can get it.
Yeah, so can I.
Okay, great. Next question.
Yes.
I saw a movie this afternoon called Death Wish 3. And it was a lot of fun. By standards of movie making on this planet, it wasn't very good, but it was a lot of fun. And after I got out of there, it seemed like the universe that I was in, the physical universe, was presenting me with greater limitations than the universe that I was in at the time that I went into the film. And I got the idea that within the context of all physical, the idea of physicality and physical universes, some universes are designed for greater limitation than other universes.
Yes.
Can you...
You are the designers, however.
Yes, of course. But the concept would not be just that you're in a physical universe and you make it more limited or less limited, but rather you design a whole universe with greater limitation, or you design a whole other universe with lesser limitation. Would this be more accurate than saying you just design a universe?
But each and every one of you is the entire universe as well.
Right.
In the overall collective agreement of the mass consciousness, yes, you, I would say, key in certain limitations that you wish to experience.
What I'm getting at is that when you begin experiencing greater limitations, you're literally shifting to a different universe which embodies those different limitations rather than creating limitations.
Very good. Yes.
Okay.
Every idea is in and of itself 100% its own universe. Totally.
Okay.
And when you identify with it, you are there.
Okay. I have one more question.
Or it is you.
It is you, yes. A year ago, July, a fellow named James Huberty massacred 21 people at a San Ysidro McDonald's. And I wondered what kind of thought processes or feelings the guy who's doing this is experiencing. Can you shed any light on that?
All right. Now, understand, we have discussed this to some degree. Not so much the idea you would call the thought processes, which are only symbols to allow the individual to be able in this way to enact the role in that sense. But in this way, the agreement behind that, for the most part, will have been to channel the violence of your society completely within your society at a time when you were acting as host to international society.
I understand that, but I'm wondering what the individual feels or thinks at the time that he's exercising that channeling.
Perhaps something similar to what you experienced when you walked out of your movie. More limitation, pressure, entrapment, powerlessness. You follow me?
To some degree, only I didn't really feel the entrapment or powerlessness. I just was experiencing it, and it was fine for me. So it's difficult for me to translate what he would be feeling in that situation.
Because you do not choose to experience that universe.
Would you say then that even if you were to describe, that there would be no way of my...
A description is not the experience.
Yeah,
no.
I would not be able to translate it into an understanding by...
Not an experiential one, no.
Well, is there anything else you can say that would describe it, even though it wouldn't be experiential? Or
not really.
It has to be experiential for me to really understand it, right?
Yes.
I could have tried. No. I presume that I could experience it at a different level by tapping into that energy.
In a sense, yes.
Without actually going through it physically.
Yes, and you already have in other lives.
Thank you.
Each of you have taken lives in other lives. Each of your lives have been taken in other lives. All you need to do, if you really wish to identify with that, is be that you here and now. Allow me to suggest you may not stay there too long.
Meaning what?
That you will judge it to be very unpleasant.
Oh, I see. Well, if one were to stay there, quote, too long, unquote, would one start manifesting that?
You could, yes.
I see. Is that what some people do when they
Yes.
Go off the deep end, I guess you could call it?
As you say on your planet, they are identifying with aspects of themselves in this way, and many times the methodology of creating that incident in your present is by identifying with an idea in the past and creating that in the present.
I see. Thank you.
Bashar.
All right.
I'm sitting here, I'm just going crazy. Okay. First
Going crazy.
Well,
are you having fun?
Oh, no.
You're not having fun going crazy?
This time, no.
Why not?
I'll get into it in my...
Oh!
First, I want to express my love and gratitude for your service, because right now I'm feeling that I'm having trouble expressing to people the emotions I'm feeling with the family and the
May I stop you right there?
Yes.
Is anyone else having trouble feeling her emotions right now?
I am. Sometimes. Feeling emotions?
Are you having trouble identifying with her emotions? Can you not
Me?
feel her emotions?
Oh, absolutely. No, that's all we're together.
Then understand you are not having any trouble expressing your emotions to anyone. They all can feel what you are creating for yourself. They can all share it. You are sharing it with them.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you feel in this way that you are having trouble expressing your emotionality?
Because...
Why are you assuming that what you are creating is not part of your own process?
I understand it's part of my process. The reason why I say that people don't understand is because they're not giving me feedback that I feel is useful.
Then you are not creating it.
I understand what you're saying.
Then understand that perhaps you don't need it. And the idea of isolation may be a reminder for you that you have all the abilities you need right now.
Oh, that's very good. Well, I'd like to share with you what happened since the last time I talked to you.
Thank you.
Okay. On a positive note,
Yes.
I've been listening to when they're calling me as to when to sit down
All right.
and get acclimated.
All right.
And twice now. The first time was Saturday, I believe, or Friday, I don't remember. And I sat down, and immediately, which I'm noticing now, if I'm sitting down, the alpha state comes within 60 seconds, and I see the purple pulsing. And the first time I felt my torso felt like it was flipping.
Yes.
How I can describe. And while I was in this state, I heard drum beats, and I had the inner vision of an Indian, and I heard the name Kuchima, not Kuchina, but Kuchima, and it kept going over and over and over in my head. And then I came out of it, and it really shook me for a few days. And then last night, I had the calling really strong. I felt I was told to drink some valerian tea, which helped me relax. And immediately upon sitting down, I again went into the alpha. And this time, my whole body lifted out except for my head. But I was aware of myself. I was pleading. I kept saying, please, please take me further. I want to go. I want to go. And I couldn't go any further. And at that moment, I felt like they weren't even there with me. I felt totally alone. And I said to whoever was there that I felt so totally alone. Where are you? Where are you?
Do you know why?
No.
Because you were pleading. And you created separation of yourself from the experience.
Okay.
By assuming that what was occurring was somehow not what was supposed to occur. You follow me?
Yes, I have been feeling that. I didn't realize I was going to come out of my body.
All right, well, now you do. And therefore, if you should stop at any point coming out of your body, it is all right.
I see. Last night I heard the name Hyperion. And I have not studied mythology, or I don't even know what the name means, but that name was over and over again.
All right. Understand that for you, when you are out of your body, the white light that you will experience, you will utilize the archetypal energy symbol, Hyperion, to represent that consciousness to you.
Okay. Carol just lifted a note to me that he is here with you now.
In a sense.
It's very presumptuous of me, but is he? Can you relay a message? I've been putting up some walls.
The message is related. In some senses, the idea of your future idea of yourself is Hyperion.
I see. I guess I should just continue.
You get.
I know I should continue what I'm doing.
Should.
I will continue.
Thank you.
What I'm doing with the experiences. I guess I'm having trouble. I am creating.
Stand up. Turn around 3 times. What did you say?
You always suggest to me.
All right. How do you feel?
I'm a little weak and shaky.
All right. Would you like to turn around 3 more times?
I'm on 1 right now. 2 more to go.
You may turn a little bit faster. Stop at the 3rd one. All right. Keep standing. Keep standing. Who are you?
I am all that is.
Very good. What type of a personality do you now require yourself to be?
Less doubtful.
All right. Understand you have just described, however, from a negative point of view. Less doubtful rather than simply active. Yes. Allow yourself to know that your personality is active. And is a prism that will always channel the white light of your knowing Hyperion self into all the different spectrums of all the different lives and all the different consciousnesses you have been, are now, and ever will be. And in this way, relax into the understanding that you can trust that you knew what you were doing when you came here, physically. Relax. Enjoy. You are light. You are living light. You may sit down.
Can I ask a question in conjunction with hers?
Yes, I think it's the same one I'm going to ask you. Thank you.
You finish yours. I just want to make a statement and a question to Bashar in reference to
I think it's what you want to ask. Carol suggested that I ask you, because of the changes going on in my body with the channeling and with the entering the 4th dimension consciousness, that I might have some deficiencies, vitamin and mineral, and I should pay attention to them.
How do you feel?
I felt, my physical body has felt different since all this has been happening. I can't pinpoint it.
Do you feel tired?
I've been sleeping a lot and very deeply.
All right. Do you feel tired physically? Or do you feel all right?
I feel better than I have in the past. I'm getting more active. I'm getting more energy.
All right, now, simply allow me to suggest in this way that you listen to the dialogue of the consciousness of your physical form. Any minerals you require to continue the idea of a balance you can find in the idea you call raw fruit and vegetable states. You do not need in this way the idea you call supplements. Simply listen to yourself.
I have changed my diet to include these. I am listening to other people outside of myself, and they're telling me because I don't eat a lot of meat that I don't have enough protein and this and that.
Poppycock.
Yes. I do feel very well with it.
Very good. You know what you are doing. All right.
That wasn't my question. My question was in reference, like earlier when she first started, and I just know, and we've gone through this before, our connection is really strong, and we're very good reflectors for each other. Where when she feels, and when I talked to you about this before, when you're supporting someone you love and care about, and like she comes and says, I don't know, all this is happening, you reflect back a calmness or a surety or the higher good or the higher self that you know the other person to be, and yet they still don't get that it's hot feedback they need. Is there anything to do, or is it basically
yes,
supposed to learn
you
to
say, so what? And you keep on loving them. They are doing exactly what they need to do. Now, as was pointed out, in terms of what you are now allowing yourself to discover on your own nutritionally, we will agree poppycock is not very nutritional.
No.
Strange question.
Well, that's not what you're asking.
Thank you.
Has the number 7 any significance?
Nope. None whatsoever.
Only in Las Vegas.
Now, do you believe me?
Well, maybe not.
Maybe.
Maybe it has significance to me personally.
All right. If it has significance to you, what significance does it have?
Well, I'm not quite sure whether it's good or bad because I...
Good or bad?
Or... Well, I don't know any other way to describe it.
Positive, negative.
Positive or negative.
May I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
Are you sitting up straight?
No.
Would you do so? It will change your attitude.
Right.
Relax. There is no need to scratch for answers. There is within the idea you call the recognition of vibrational patterns, that which has translated to some degree in the idea you call numerology, astrology, a recognition of vibrational agreements to some degree, energy patterns that are exemplified within the different levels of consciousness of your mass conscious being. In this way, recognize that there is some agreement within the entire mass consciousness of your civilization to recognize significance or validity within certain numerical patterns, 7 being one.
Yes.
Simply recognize that whatever terminology you wish to ascribe validity to that idea or symbol for yourself will be what you create. In this way, in a general sense, it will represent the idea of the completeness of yourself, the knowingness of yourself represented in the 7 levels of existence within the vibrational densities. Therefore, if you feel attached to it, recognize you are dealing in this way consciously with the idea of allowing yourself to recognize the totality of your consciousness. Whether it be, in the sense, expressed positively or negatively is up to you. Whatever you want to mirror to yourself. And this is why, in this way, you have ascribed the idea to the breaking of a mirror, the 7 years of negative experience.
The reason why I asked you was I keep running into this number very often.
Every individual, again, within the idea of the ecstatic explosion of automatic coincidence and creation that you are, will always create within the overall vibrational patterns of the mass consciousness your own vibrational patterns that you call synchronicity. This is simply, again, an opportunity for you to know you are afflicting to yourself your own perfect timing.
Yes.
Act upon it. Follow it. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
One moment. Yes?
Yes, in Los Angeles there's a street named Hyperion, and there's also a plant named Hyperion. And where did the name come from? I was kind of surprised that it meant something else.
In this way, it will be higher idea, higher self.
Was that the name of a man too, also? Was it named after a person?
There have been individuals upon your planet with that name. In this case, it is more of a concept in terms of the naming.
It's the Los Angeles' major sewage processing plant is named Hyperion.
Great. I'm going to clean sewage.
Through your higher self. Yes.
Hi.
One moment.
The hieroglyphics that are found in eastern Oklahoma are believed to have been put there by the Vikings. Do you have anything? Would that be true? And if so, what year?
We perceive in this way, again, however, translations from our time track to yours being what they are, we will perceive what you term to be the year 1530. In this way, however, our perception is such that they are copies of something seen elsewhere.
Columbus?
No.
Columbus came in 1500.
They are not from that individual.
Yeah, but why would 1500 be from the Vikings too? Why would they come at the same time?
They did not. They had come in your terms earlier. Some of the glyphs were utilized by what you term to be American Indian, and in this way, they were utilized and presented in that area by American Indian, copying the original symbols in 1530.
Okay, so that means the Viking came much earlier then.
Yes. Approximately in what you term to be.
700?
Once, 1200, 36. Some earlier.
The Vikings were there then.
They did not, in this way, as we have said, go inland.
But the Indian picked up their
Yes. These are copies from the American Indian of what was perceived more along what you term to be the eastern coast of your country.
Okay.
And they were blended into their own symbols.
Okay.
Now, there have been a couple of individuals who did explore inland, but not as a group. Some of this influence is from some of those individuals. And hence, in this way, it was a blending of the two cultures with those individuals. These individuals have not, in your terms, found a place within your historical literature, except in these symbols. There were very small bands of individuals who did go inland, but not as a group. They set off on their own explorations. But the symbols in particular that you are describing are the result of some of those excursions, but by that time it was more the result of the assistance of the American Indians, with their recollection of their exchanges with those individuals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to share something.
Oh, right.
About a week and a half ago, I guess it was, I attended a dance performance in which Erica and Mark performed. And I noticed toward the end, I had this feeling that the dancers were somewhat restrained in their expression of their energy. I looked at it and I thought, now this doesn't make sense that they'd be restrained. They didn't physically look restrained, but I sensed the restraint. And then I realized that I was creating that sense of restraint.
Very good.
And as soon as I said, okay, I can not create this, I can create the unrestrained form of energy that they are creating for themselves, they did instantaneously where they were unrestrained, and I felt this extraordinary flow of energy just coursing through my body. It was too much to handle. I didn't really want to.
And you know what you did. You flipped into another universe, became another universe, as you had described before.
Yeah.
In which the reality of your perception of the dancers was less restrained.
Exactly.
Right. You became that universe. You became the idea. Very good.
It was quite an interesting crossroads for myself.
Yes.
And I conceived after that at some level, the whole scenario of my friends, first of all, inviting me to it, going there, the performance, everything, at some level was created specifically for me in order to experience that experience.
Of course. Understand what it means to be a multidimensional being. Every single one of you are creating for everyone else these reflections on every level that exists simultaneously. You are all connected in an infinite number of extensions.
It was terrific.
There will be, in your terms, a few more minutes remaining. Briefly.
The memory device is it feasible for a human to set up a certain vibration necessary to feed and draw from those memory sources?
With some assistance.
Bashar?
Yes.
I'm asking a question for a friend who lives out of town. Her name is Dawn, and in May of 1979, she was involved in a serious car accident, and she's had a tremendous amount of conflict since then. And she wanted to know if you could shed some light, help her with that.
Is she physically disabled?
She had a lot of surgery and hip surgery and body twisted around a lot. She thought perhaps she was a walk-in, but she's not fully sure of that.
She is not.
Okay.
This will be brief, and it is going to sound, well, maybe not so strange to you. The only thing we are allowed at this time, and in our perception, the idea being expressed is that certain ideas within her, deep within her, can be activated by certain symbols, though nothing will be immediately blatant. However, we perceive that there is a symbol that can be given to her which will open up certain ideas within her that will allow her to begin to consciously create her own awareness of her reasons and allow it to be utilized so that it can transform in whatever way is necessary for the life she has chosen. This symbol is what you call the flower poppy. Simply give to her this flower. It will begin, though perhaps not consciously at first, to resurrect, in a sense, ideas of herself into her present idea of herself from the idea you call the past. And it will all connect to an agreement that she will ultimately come to understand ties into her future self. Begin with that symbol. Allow it to be read. Allow there to be also what you term to be a black cloth, either behind it, a black object supporting it, or a black garment worn by her when she receives it. It will form the neutral background that will allow the symbol to stand out with a starkness that will reach all levels of her consciousness and invoke perceptions in her dream state and even perhaps in her conscious state. The poppy will open certain channels within her. At this time, in this way, is all we can be of service. There will be more on this individual later.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Bashar,
Quickly.
can you tell me if my purse is in my house?
No.
Can you tell me where it is?
Where is your idea of abundance?
In my purse. No. My idea of abundance is in my savings account.
Is that all?
No.
Where else is it?
Just in the environment, when you see things that just seem like there's plenty of it. Like at the beach or...
Is it within you?
Yeah.
All right. Then in that sense, your purse is within your house.
Okay.
Now, you can also literally find your purse within your house if you find your abundance within yourself.
Okay.
Now, this is a suggestion. A symbol that has to do with a transformation of either looking at a reflection inward or of a cleansing. Maybe the most likely places.
Can you say that one more time?
Symbol of transformation, reflection, or cleansing. Behind or in front of any object which reflects that idea. The fields are activated. Be quick.
I just wanted to say that it was Bashar's birthday on Monday, and today is Ken's, and tomorrow, the next day is Peter's, and I thought we could send everyone off with a happy birthday song. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bashar and Peter. Happy birthday to you.
In this way, allow us to once again remind you that each new idea of yourself is a birthday. We will wish each and every one of you happy birthday. We will bid you good night. We are the sharing that continues.
Nice.